see if I can adjust this a little bit. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is 953 days. 953 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And I'm trying to get him on here. Oh, I get it. There you go. Okay. I wanted to get his face on here. Okay. 953 days. Thank you so much for coming on. We love you, for supporting us, for supporting our troops, to save our troops, for supporting the children, because this case is now getting clearer and clearer what has happened. So, like over a year ago, I said, morsel by morsel, Operation Hansel and Gretel, we will find out what happened to Richard. We will find out things slowly. I knew it was going to be slowly because of all the political headwind that we were against. You understand, our family is really against a lot of political headwind, because we are a Christian family. Not only are we a Christian family, but we firmly, firmly believe in the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, which is being attacked right now. So traditional, very liturgical Christian families are being attacked right now. Um, and absolutely, you see that everywhere because there's history there. There's the apostolic succession, that once you're rooted in that, it is so powerful, absolutely so powerful, because you have all the councils um, that are like rocks under your, it's the rock. Of course, Jesus Christ is the rock, a firm foundation, but all of those councils that have been argued over the centuries, um, that have been proven, um, it just gives you a lift. It gives you power to move forward in assurance in in daily life. And so that's being attacked. Of course it is. And then, of course, having that kind of foundation, we do not think that Darwin was so swift, so wise. We think that his theory is racist. We think his theory, the survival of the fittest by race, is trash. That's how we feel. We do not believe in evolution. We do not believe in the evolution of the earth and animals and all of that. We believe that we have a creator, an intelligent creator, and that everything has a purpose, everything has value, and there is not a survival of the fittest, but something called the Medal of Honor ethos, the Good Samaritan, the grace and mercy and charity, which is love, right? And so, and this is something that led us to look into the coronavirus, the COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, um, and there was this survival of the fittest. There was a you are essential and you're not essential, um, that we did not agree with. We did not agree that one business is more essential than the other. One person is more essential than the other. We didn't believe in that because we're not racist. We believe that everybody has value and all their businesses have value, and nobody should be shut down. Their freedom should not be shut down. They also are sovereign um, over their household, and so to mandate what they were doing, and he made essential. And I remember the CID, was bragging to us like, well, I was essential, so I didn't have to abide by curfew. So some people don't have as many laws as others, and we think that is wrong. We believe in Lady Liberty. We believe in Lady Justice, those equal scales, those equal measuring of the laws. And of course, being on that firm foundation, Christian, traditional, triune foundation, we believe that every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God is law word. And so we take the Ten Commandments seriously. And this is all very important for people to know about our family, because we did not believe in the COVID lockdown mandates and all that nonsense because of the unfair use of laws, the tyranny, the totalitarianism that it was displaying, the risk, and then once you went into the hospital, of course, we were unfortunate that we did have my dad had to be in the hospital, and it was insanity, absolute insanity, not about people's health. We knew that this was not about people's health, that this was a political move. Once we saw all of what was going on, we knew it wasn't about health. The 6 feet apart wasn't about health. The masks are not about health, not about good health. That is I would say, a Star of David equivalent from World War II, a show of submission. And I know people think that they work. They don't. They don't. And what really, I don't get upset with them at all. But our leadership in the agencies that we pay billions of dollars to, that equal up to trillions of dollars in debt, they should speak out. They should educate the masses. We depend on them to educate us and to be benevolent, but they're not benevolent. They mean us harm. They want to do us harm, these agencies. Very clearly, the Department of Justice means us harm. Very clearly, the Department of Defense means us harm. Very clearly, the FBI means us harm. And it goes on and on and on and on. And the CDC and the WHO, and they all mean us harm. The FDA, they mean us harm. And this is all has come out now. And of course, so here we are, a family, the headwinds that we have had to go forward, towards, because we are not Darwinists. We are not going to lockstep to totalitarianism, anarchism. We are not going to lockstep to the destruction of historical, theologically sound councils of the church that we firmly believe in, that establishes the Trinity, 3 persons in one God, the one and the many, the one and the many, the only answer to the one and the many, which is the most discussed philosophical topic ever. The only answer to that is found in the Bible, in the Trinity. Who is important? Who is essential? Is it the one, or is it the many? Well, we know now that, is it the husband in a marriage, or is it the wife? And do they have to have the same duty? Do they have to have the exact same authority? And we know that God the Father, I should say, the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Ghost is God. They each are not one another, but they are the same essence. They are one God. And once you wrap your head around that, you can go to the Athanasian Creed. You can go to the Council of Chalcedon. You can go to the Confession. You can go to Nicaea. You can go to the Apostles' Creed. These creeds are super important if you want to wrap your head around the one and the many. And why do you want to do that? Because you do not want to live in totalitarianism. You do not want to live in anarchism. And this is very, very clear that the totalitarianism hit inside the DOD while we were trying to find our missing soldier. They were required to lockstep. I understand the military is not a democracy. They have to follow orders, right? They have to. Okay, I understand that. But to be totalitarian, just because you're a soldier, doesn't mean that you're not important. Okay? The one is still important, as is the many. And you do not have to give up your religious beliefs. You do not have to give up control over your own health, health care, when you join the military. And what happened? The 44 four-star generals betrayed us. They committed treason. They committed crimes against humanity. Just for starters. That's just a tip of the iceberg of what they did. Because don't forget that the Pentagon has been audited 5 times, and every time loads of money. We're talking trillions of dollars are unaccounted for. So, and they were, of course, the ones we know now that did the whole COVID lockdown. They organized, starting in like 2013, they planned for this. And that's not me. That's not me. That is what is already out there. That is already the proof that they have. Okay? And so when we were looking for our son, we stumbled into an operational order that had been designed, that had been prepared for. Because, operational orders are difficult. They're very difficult. They're very thorough. And they take a lot of effort and a lot of time to make. And even for a picnic, they have to have an operational order. And it comes out of the G3. That G3, okay? The wedding planners. It's like a wedding. You have to know who is going to supply the decorations, who is going to supply the flowers, who's going to cater, who is going to, where are you going to get the tuxes, where are you going to get the wedding dress, who's going to do the hair, who's going to do the makeup, who's going to do, it goes on and on. This is how an operational order in the military is written up. And COVID-19 was a whopper. I'd like to see those operational orders because, for Task Force Find Richard Halliday, there was no operational order. And nothing happens in the military without one. So General McConville, who had been part of this planning, of this you're essential, you're not essential, totalitarian treason, staged a task force, Find Richard Halliday, for the very first CONUS Deaths One missing soldier under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. Do you understand what that means? That means in April of 2020, Vanessa Guillen was bludgeoned to death with a hammer in her face, then stuffed. I don't know how they stuffed her, because anyway, my husband has other thoughts on that one. But she was put into, her body was put into somehow, some way, into a Pelican case, which is like a trunk. And somehow, some way, all of that hammering blood was cleaned up. And that trunk then placed in a vehicle, and then driven out to Leon River, the banks of Leon River, and her body was proceeded to be cut up with a machete and then burnt. The Pelican case was burnt. The burning of the body did not go well, so they dug a foxhole. They went and got concrete. They went and got lime, and they placed her body parts down in that foxhole, put lime on it, put concrete on it, put dirt on it, leaves, everything. And they thought her body would never be found. But this world is not about the survival of the fittest. This world is controlled by God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. A spirit that's so powerful, so gracious, so loving, so wise, intelligent design, that his animals dug around that, smelled that. I remember, I don't know if I don't really talk about it much, but years ago, I had to go through chemotherapy, and it made me, the thing that I remember the most about it is I could smell. It heightened my sense of smell so much that that's what made me throw up, is I could smell everything. I could smell it. And I just thought, wow. It's amazing when you have certain dogs, certain wild animals that have a keen sense of smell. And that's why we wanted canines in this case, because it was animals that found, of course, line operators, electrical line operators, I believe, or telephone line operators, saw what was going on around that area, and were curious and went there, and they're the ones that found Vanessa Guillen's body. Now, what people don't know that we found out through Texas EquiSearch, our contact there, who they were always denied helping us because the CID has to give them permission to help, and they were denied because at Fort Hood, the CID allowed Texas EquiSearch to help in the search for Vanessa Guillen, and of course, Gregory Morales' remains were found during that also. Some other things happened also. But when Texas EquiSearch found the Pelican case, mostly burnt up, mostly melted, they knew they were close. They knew they were so close to finding Vanessa. And guess what the CID did? They called off the search and sent EquiSearch home. They didn't double up. They didn't triple up. They didn't call in for reinforcements to hurry up and find Vanessa. And I think that is also proof of that the 44 four-star generals and admirals have betrayed us, are serving now foreign and domestic enemies with a foreign ideology, one that is not about esprit de corps, one that is not about the Medal of Honor ethos, and it's not about helping our service members or our children. It was a kick in the gut for every service member, a kick in the teeth for every service member and their family members. And so that happened through April through July, right before Richard went missing. And that's not the only thing that happened. Enrique Roman Martinez was also beheaded, and Austin Hawke was also virtually beheaded when they went to go pick up his body that they had left there all night. Nobody calling 911. Nobody coming in there to help him in his barracks. Everyone just listening in while he's getting slaughtered. It's awful. This leadership. This is what this psychological weaponization, the weaponization of psychological warfare, psychological operations can do on a military. Austin Hawke's case absolutely proves that our service members have been put through psychological operations. They are so afraid. They are so retaliated against. Or they are part of, you understand this whole porn thing, the airdropping, the whole drug thing, the whole human trafficking. If you are a young service member and you need to pay off debt, there's plenty of crime that you can do, that you could be groomed into, that you can be approached to do. And there's just so much crime going on in our barracks, on our installations. We had a colonel, think about this, a colonel admit to grooming new soldiers because he wanted to rear the puppies. He was in this puppy sex cult. It's probably still going on right now. A colonel, y'all. What comes after a colonel? General. A colonel. And not only was he engaging, participating, producing this kind of activity, but this porn doggy cult, he was also showing his erection in uniform with the doggy mask on our installation, in our gymnasiums, for the world to see, publicly, for the world to see, and not just once, and bold about it, brash about it, proud about it. Now, this is a national security threat. This is a morale threat. This is so bad. And any porn, y'all, I'm talking about any porn, because Kanye West, who goes by the name Ye now, made it very he gave an argument that was so compelling that anyone that supports any kind of porn supports child sex trafficking. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And with that colonel, and the grooming of young service members coming in. And then you have the barracks being marketplaces for illegal drugs. Then you have the servicing of foreign and domestic enemies to lead our service members into unjust conflicts around the world. Um, and all kinds of crime, y'all. All kinds of crime. So the airdropping of porn, of child sex porn, is a weaponization. Porn is a weapon. Okay, it is a weapon. They used it during World War I and World War II against the Germans. Germany still is plagued by porn. And if anybody has ever been there, they are apt people. Very apt people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I lived there most of my life. The music, the architecture, the know-how, the absolute know-how of electronics, of plumbing, is unbelievable. They're not reaching their potentiality because they're still plagued with porn. They're plagued with porn. You can say it's consensual. No, it is child sex trafficking. It is grooming. It is a weapon. No, I am, after listening to Kanye West, who goes by the name Ye because he does not want to be Kanye West anymore. He wants to be a new person. He is a new person. That's what he said. But his argument, no matter what you think of him, but his argument for the porn industry and what that the domino effects of that, where it comes from and where it goes. His argument was so compelling, and I thank him very much for that. Richard was not okay with it. What happens to a soldier when he's not okay with it? What happens to service members when they join the military and the military has been hijacked? They realize it's been hijacked, and that through psychological operations, hypnosis, hypnotizing, we all have a bit of hypnosis. I don't know if y'all know. One of mine was taken away when I was told by a Team Find Richard Halliday member, look, Pat, if they lie to us about the moon, of course they're going to lie to us about your son. They're going to lie to you about your son because they're lying to us about our moon, which is right there in front of us, right there, and we can take a picture. I can take my camera, click, and I can zoom in, and I can see. I can even see with my naked eye. When you have perigee and apogee, when the moon is furthest away, when the moon is closest away, closest to us, when we have the analemma, all of these things that I never learned until someone said that to me, and my hypnosis, those curly things in my eyes when I looked up to the sky and looked at the moon, and oh my gosh, China is building a station on the far side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon. They're going to have missiles pointed down at us. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? We need help. You see, that was all unnecessary. All unnecessary. So even though I wasn't hypnotized by COVID, I was hypnotized by the moon, by what they said. Decades, I think a century now, they've been lying to us about the moon. And it's not a solid. China can't build on the far side of the moon. Why would they want to build on the far side of the moon anyway? We don't even know if it's a sphere because we it's not a solid. And so here we are, family, been called terrorists, domestic terrorists. Know that the moon is not solid. That's a big deal because we have an agency that gets like 55 to 58 $1,000,000 a day. $1,000,000 a day. A day. For what? For balloons? Satelloons? Satelloons? Yeah, so here we are. We went to January 6, 2021. We don't want to live by lies. We want the truth. And God has been good because we have discovered the terrible circumstances Richard was under. And I thought to myself last night, I thought, okay, do I think Richard is alive? I don't think Richard is alive. I didn't think Richard was alive the first day that we heard. I was like, oh my gosh, he's in a ditch dead somewhere. Oh my gosh, please God. And then we watched, I Am Vanessa came up. So I watched I Am Vanessa and with my husband, and we said, okay, we got to go rally. Let's go. We'll just move to El Paso and we'll rally. And we did that, and we saw the faces, we saw the shaking, we saw the lies, we lived the lies, we lived the retaliation, we lived the harassment, we lived the bullying, we lived it. We lived what our service members have to live through every day. And we found out a lot of information. And I thought, is Richard alive? And of course, we stuck by Sammy. Sammy always believed that Richard is alive. I didn't. We didn't. Because where is he? Why hasn't he come? We've called. I cannot tell you how many hours we have put into this. And the lies to getting his stuff and seeing his passport there in his stuff when they told us no, his passport wasn't there, and him buying a weapon 5 days before, buying a pistol 5 days before he went missing. He was afraid for his life. The lies, the smearing, the non-urgency to look for him. They already knew. See, they already knew. The CID, the 44 four-star generals and admirals unit, they already knew that Richard had complained to the Child Protective Services. They already knew the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. They already knew there was retaliation. They already knew there was severe continuous retaliation, a smoking of Richard. They already knew Richard wasn't okay with the spirit, the foreign ideology, the criminal spirit that was in the military. And they already knew. They already knew about the leaking from the CID. We have the CID agent Tavita Nusa leaking to Lalani Hart. They already knew. They already knew, y'all, that Lalani Hart has a son, Dallas Hart, first lieutenant, and right there in El Paso, right there in the military. Now he's not in the military anymore. But you see, they already knew all that. And yeah, and we've just discovered so many things. And I was thinking, but if he is alive, how would I react? What I need to prepare for both, for everything. Uh, that's I just try to think through everything, just the five possibilities um, of what could happen to him. And I thought to myself this morning, it was, wow, he's a hostage. Our service members are hostages to these 44 four-star demon betraying, treasonous, crimes against humanity, committing that, um, totalitarian, 44 four-star criminals that are wearing our beautiful uniforms with those 4 stars on it that we have given everything to, entrusted our volunteer sons and daughters to, entrusted trillions of dollars to, entrusted our stealth bombers to, entrusted our submarines, our nuclear weapons, our fleets, our tanks, our everything. We have entrusted the national security of our country, the defense of our country, we have entrusted to them, and they have betrayed us, and they are the worst type of criminal. They have left our country defenseless and sold us out to the enemies, and taken our service members and have, whether it is like Patty Hearst, psychological operations against them to make them believe that they are defending our country or whatever, doing the right thing, but they're not, y'all. They're servicing, they are answering the orders, obeying the orders of these treasonous criminals that are servicing foreign and domestic enemies, and they are being held hostage, whether they know it or not. And a lot of them know that they are held hostage, and they have no recourse. They have no recourse at all, because they get continuously retaliated against. My very good friend, waterboarding against our own, and we're left defenseless. So our military service members are being held hostage. They didn't join the military to groom each other into these sex cults, put doggy masks on. They did not join the military to have frat parties every day and sell drugs or participate in illegal drugs. They didn't join the military to have mental health, psychological operations used against them so that they would be totally depressed and on mental health medication, which is very, very difficult to get off once you're on it. They did not join the military to become murderers and rapists and have to witness that and not say anything. Let a fellow soldier, that nice guy, wow, he's such a nice guy, but you let him bleed out on the floor. You don't even go in there after the perpetrator has left. You don't call 911. You don't call the military police, because you know that they're in the same boat that you are. They're held hostage too, because if you go missing, if you're a whistleblower, they'll go to the military police guard mount and perform a psychological operation on the military police against you, smearing you. That's what they did against Richard. That's what they were trying to do with Vanessa. Thank God they found her. Thank God. Because they've put Enrique in cold case. And the members there at Fort Stewart that had to lay in their bed knowing that Austin Hawke was bleeding out on the floor there. How do you go through life with that? By the grace of God. Confession is the cure of souls. I have a book that really helped. It's just such an awesome book. It's one of those foundational rocks you want to stand on, because confession is a sacrament, and they want to take confession away. But that is you talking to God, talking to God, getting that comfort from the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, the forgiveness, the redemption from our great Redeemer, right? Jesus, the one and the many. And it's called confession, the cure of souls. It's called the cure of souls. And it's all about confession. And that's how we, they use Freud to say, oh, you can blame it on everyone else. Just lay here on my couch and tell me all your problems. We can blame your parents. We can blame this, whatever. That's, if you read Sigmund Freud, that was his way of getting rid of guilt. He wanted to get rid of guilt, the need for confession. And that means our relationship with God. He wanted to get rid of the need for our relationship with God. And well, it just didn't work, Freud. And it caused a lot of evil, though. He did a lot of damage. Freud did a lot of damage with his psychoanalysis. Darwin did a lot of damage. But they were all, these were all supported. The media was behind them. Darwin's book, boring, nasty book, just stupid book, right? It's not even required reading. Got full support. Woohoo! We're in the media. Let's, push it out there. That's what they do today. When something is pushed out there, you need to be aware. Be aware. Why is this person being pushed out there? Because let me tell you, Richard's not being pushed out there. A whistleblower for child sex porn, the production of porn, the selling of porn, the broadcasting of porn, the trying to tell a young mother she has other potentialities other than a sex cult industry. And you can recover. You can recover from being groomed. You can recover from being in a barracks listening to someone get slaughtered and then having to lay there and not be able to do anything about it because of severe continuous retaliation and psychological operations used against you. Our service members are held hostage right now by these 44 four-star generals and admirals. And we need a Department of Defense. We need a military. But this is my opinion. They are held hostage. And if Richard is ever found alive, it's like releasing a hostage. That's what I thought this morning. A hostage being released from the grips of these enemies. And we do have, I'm not the one saying this. I am the one saying this, but there are many others that are much more prominent than me. I'm just a little mom. I'm just a little homeschool concerned mom that they call a domestic terrorist. Yeah. Even our representative, William Timmons, told us he won't answer us anymore. He won't answer us. And of course, Lindsey Graham never did. Well, maybe his man did. But, William Timmons sent his man to tell us that. And this retired colonel called him a coward in front of us. rightfully so. Good for him. Good for him. But I don't want a coward representing me. I don't want a coward representing me. And because they are left defenseless, they are through cowardice serving foreign and domestic enemies. They're not representing the people. So I think, yeah, you can go to Telegram. I have so much stuff on Telegram again, um, that, you can read that, because CPAC is going on right now, and so much good information is coming out of that. Is it positive information, that, we have so many traitors? Um, but we'll see. We'll see, right? Uh, it's not about these, it's not about power, the survival of the fittest. It's about dominion. It's about, are you standing on a firm foundation? Are you standing on a firm foundation? Because God is moving. God is moving, and he's shaking. Shake, 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 shake. Do you know that from Messiah? He is shaking. And if you're not on that firm foundation, you're going to fall. And this is why we have gotten this information, because it's like panning for gold. You shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, you wash it off, and you look and you see those pieces of gold, and you find out that this man that came in and said the FBI found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico, you find out that he is the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado and the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM. That was a big hunk of gold. And then you shake it some more, and you're on a firm foundation. They're on a shaky foundation. And you find out this person is involved in some bad stuff. And you find out what this blue truck is doing and who it belongs to, and you shake, 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 and you get more gold, and you realize that Hema Xochitl is the wife of Richard's first sergeant. Shake, 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 and you realize that they knew about these leaks, and you find out that Richard made Child Protective Service complaints over and above it, and you shake it some more, and did he go to his command and they tell him to shut up? That they don't care about child porn being airdropped to people's phones? And then you can blackmail people with that? You can blackmail. We've got a young man that I really would love to get in touch with his family and say, you need to revisit this, because he's serving 12 years in prison, and it's all over right now how they airdrop this unwanted porn, even in middle school, even like terrible things. And if we have a colonel that his objective is to groom our service members into puppies that he can rear while showing his erection in uniform in a puppy mask and a dog mask. He's the dog, right? Wow. And then we have mayors. We have how many mayors now that have been arrested for child porn? So that's not the mayors that have been engaging in what they call consensual porn. Sorry, y'all. That's up to no good, because even consensual porn is supporting child sex trafficking, is supporting human trafficking. And those dominoes fall real quick into the abyss, spiraling into the abyss. So we're starting to find out. Please, if you know anybody that has gotten these child porn airdrops on their phone, if you know of any military families that have been approached to participate in child sex trafficking, let me know. Um, if you know of any families that have been approached in active duty to sell out their own children, um, let me know. This is an attack on our country, and Richard was not okay with it. Not okay with it. If he is alive, which I don't think, we have the FBI. Good possibility that they're hiding the remains of our son they found in Juarez, Mexico. But our service members right now are captives of the worst type of crimes. It's not one crime, the worst. And psychologically, some of them don't even know it, that their potentialities are being stifled. They're being groomed. They're being left in the dark about some of the most marvelous things in the world. And they're being used to serve foreign and domestic enemies. And I don't think most of them know it. So let's not be hypnotized. We need to find grace wherever we can find it. I understand that. But, if you have good solutions, let me know. I think the death penalty needs to be part of those discussions. It is so bad, y'all. I would never ever suggest it unless the absolute bloody mess we're in didn't hit me right in the face. And it is so bad. And they could find Richard if they wanted. They knew everything. They let us suffer when they knew so much. Anyway, we need you to share this then. We need you to share. We need to stop this. This is the dominion that I'm talking about. This is a dominion. It might not seem like you have power, but you do. We do. And it's that getting closer than the 6 feet. It is taking off the mask and talking with one another. It is meeting with one another. It is discussing things with one another. It's sharing with one another. It's amazing. And when we have a consensus that we want to have a strong country, a just country, that we don't want child pornography, that we don't want child sex trafficking, that we don't want pornography, because it's a weapon and it can be easily turned against anybody. And it messes up families, y'all. It's the path to grooming. So, yeah. And I think this is the right way to do this, because we need to do it each individually in our own government of ourselves, our personal government. It's that one. People always want the many when it comes to government, that there has to be a law for the many, but it's never that way. There's always these people that they create laws, and then the next law they create is the one that is giving exceptions to the law, right? And they're the exception. Um, I think it's the personal government, our personal responsibility. So please share, and please pray that we find Richard. Okay, everyone. I should see if we have any comments. Any comments? Eddie, thank you. Good evening, Mrs. Halliday and Team Find Richard Halliday. Thank you so much. Cells are not solid. Dust is not solid. Oh, wow. I still have faith that Richard is alive. Thank you. The porn crap was going on obviously before Richard got to the army because Mexico border cartels are known for all of that, and drugs and stealing human parts, killing in Mexico too also. I know, and yeah, it's been going on for years. But you know what? I've been told that, and I know that. But we're not okay with it, right? We're not okay with it. And when are we finally going to say that's enough? How many children, how many families need to be destroyed? It's not enough. It's not okay. And I did not even know that it was part of this case, but they did. The CID did. The CID knew that even the Mormons are part of this case. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, even the LGBTQ is part of this case. They knew all of that. They knew the leaks. They knew the people involved. They knew what was going on because Richard made the complaint. And the IG complaints. The IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. And now we want, because he was so smoked, that's what they call it, so smoked, retaliated against severely and continuously, we want to see his legal file to get a better, truthful, transparent, and I would share it. I've been sharing everything. As much as I possibly can, I've been sharing. And we want a truthful, transparent image of what was going on legally with Richard. Because he's a yellow Interpol, 80 subpoenas and warrants, just about, I'm sure now. And he's a yellow Interpol. So we need to get those files. They want to block that. They want to block the CPS complaints. Why? Why? Who are they protecting? Major General Clem Coward, he needs to do a lot of answering. He needs to answer the questions. So, okay, thank you. And of course, they're watching the TikTok. The TikTok is getting some movement. For this case, I think there should be a lot more. But, and that's not just because of this is huge. This is about the border. This is about child sex trafficking. This is about people getting hurt by these airdrops of porn, of child porn. This is about the FBI, possibly, very possibly, huge chance that they are hiding the remains of a United States Army soldier they found in Juarez, Mexico, the very first CONUS Deaths One Missing soldier under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. This is a huge case. So TikTok, we're getting a little bit of sharing, and so that is helpful. But what do? When I get to a really good question, are active duty soldier families also being pulled into this? Then what do? They report. They don't want to get to the bottom of very serious crimes that hurt children and hurt families, hurt communities, hurt societies, the one and the many. So they don't want to get to the bottom of it. and and so then I get blocked or whatever, reported. Um, yeah, they are protecting money and greed. Yeah, um, yeah. Not all who go to church are Christians. No, but it's like what God says. There are weeds and there is the grain, right? Let them grow. Let them grow. God will work it out. God will work it out. But we still have to follow laws, and we cannot allow human trafficking, and we cannot allow human sex trafficking, and we cannot allow child sex trafficking and child sex porn to be produced and sold and broadcasted on our military installations and all the other crimes. So, um, there's just um, anyway. So there can't be a blocking of a family trying to find their soldier son. You just don't even realize what we've been through. It's just absolutely madness that we were getting these vile and vulgar messages, and we had to be the ones that figured out a way to trace them. And we told the FBI, we told the CID about the harassment that we were getting, and they were like, they can't do anything about it. But we could do something about it. And it stopped immediately. And I gave them the addresses where it led to, the information where it led to. And it's been crickets. Crickets. So you're talking about these billion-dollar agencies that can't stop harassment, but we could. We could figure it out in a matter of hours. A matter of hours, we could set it up and stop the absolute hate. And we don't have a staff, and we don't have the endless pocketbook and all of that. And we can figure out who the Dollar General man was, and we could figure out who the woman was, and we could figure out. Um, it's just crazy. So this is so dangerous. Death threats, um, vile, vulgar. That hasn't stopped, y'all. It stopped on the phone, but there's other things going on. And all we're doing is looking for a missing soldier. And we're uncovering really nasty stuff. And we are being told by our representative, William Timmons, it's nothing and I'm not going to answer you. That's crazy. All right, exactly. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Kat. Thank you. God bless you. And please share and I'll keep going. I'll keep going. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow.